And if you're wanting to end a war, if you want to end this campaign that's happening right now, Marco Rubio does not seem like the statesman that's going to get that done. Now, to counter that, so a lot of people are losing their heads, right? It's like, oh, here come the neocons. Marco Rubio's here. I forget who else they're concerned about. Probably Elise Stefanik or whatever. But it's like, oh, here they are, a bunch of neocons. It's back. Don't worry, like Trump's still doing the same old Trump stuff. It's the same old thing. I got a couple thoughts on the matter. One, and I admit part of this is fueled by when I watch a lot of people have very strong emotional reactions in one way, my initial response is there's probably something more to this, like people are reacting very strongly with essentially the same information that I have. And maybe they're right, but they don't know they're right because it hadn't happened yet. But maybe they're right, and especially this one, he hadn't actually been named, but let's assume he's named. If Israel does not want to end this violence, they say return the hostages and we'll stop. Yeah, maybe. And now Lebanon, and it's getting squirrely.
Lockheed and Raytheon don't want it to stop.
Why? What? They are patriotic organizations here to defend America. But yeah, so all right. But say you're Trump, and you say, look, we're ending Russia, the war with Ukraine. We're ending the war in Israel. And they don't want to hear it, right? Maybe your chief statesman that you send over, you send someone who is a big Israel fanatic in that way, as opposed to it's like, hey, we love you. I love you. Think about everything anytime you say jump, I say how high. But the president has asked that we figure out a way to end this, and let's work that out, So it could be a way to say, look, we're going to send a nice person, or we're going to send your friend to try and tell you to cut it out, as opposed to a stranger or someone that's been advocating for Palestinians or something like that. It's like, look, this guy literally says you're just murdering animals, or not murdering, whatever. Putting them down like a hunting dog. But yeah, so maybe there's something to that, right?
I like the positive. That's a positive angle.
I mean, it's there's a logic to it. There's logic to it. We'll have to wait and see. But to go immediately like, well, everything that he said he didn't mean, which is possible. But the first time he got elected, he did a lot of things that he said he was going to do, even things I didn't want him to do, like the tariffs. He did it right away. He seems to be more about doing the things that he says he's going to do, and he likes to talk about doing them, then he talks about getting them done. That seems to be more his speed. So if you assume that he is going to try to get this ended, it could be a positive thing. Also, say you're your goal, no foreign entanglements, no foreign wars, not invading other countries, not having proxy wars. You have a war hawk like Marco Rubio, and same thing. Like, you got a guy that's not promising peace and love, but it's like, our goal is no wars, but I get a lot of money from Raytheon. It'd be very good for us to go to war, but we don't want war. Perhaps once again, it's peace through strength or whatever. You speak softly and carry a big stick. So there could be a logic like that to it. I don't know. Only time will tell on this one. But my thought on, and so the problem with whoever he picks, right? If he picks a senator like Rubio, the governor appoints a replacement, and then when the term's up, there's an election, right? So Rubio's in Florida, super red. Basically, DeSantis would get to pick the next senator, which I have a feeling Donald Trump would have a lot of input on. So now make sure you have a senator who is on board with your agenda. Marco Rubio has done some Gang of Eight type stuff, especially on immigration, where Marco Rubio has been opposed to certain immigration things. He's more of a pathway to citizenship. He's softer on immigration than Donald Trump is by far, and many Republicans, right? So if Marco Rubio is Secretary of State, he does not have a vote in that. He cannot get a group together. He can't reach across the other side. He's not part of it. He literally can't vote on it. And so he's removed that vote from the Senate. Stefanik, there'll be a special election there. She votes with the Democrats as much as the Republicans. She's an incumbent. They're both incumbents, very strong incumbents. Remove that vote. And she's at the UN. So now, that one's a special election. Who knows? The other guy, the Green Beret guy, he's going to be another special election. It's Florida. It's probably safe. Red will probably be somebody Trumpy. So he's probably not too worried about that. But Trump is not afraid to fire people. He fired people all the time. It was one of the biggest knocks during his presidency about how turbulent the White House was. How he says he only hires the best people, but he keeps firing all these people. So it wouldn't be crazy for him to take a couple safe incumbents that might stand in the way of his agenda on the floor when you need Congress to vote for it. Pull them into the administration. If they don't hop in line, do what he says, go, thanks, I'll accept your resignation. And now it's like, oh, well, now you're not Senator Rubio, you're private citizen Marco Rubio with, fat pension and deal with a lobbyist and everything else. But you're on the board of Raytheon.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting strategy that could be happening.
If you enjoyed that segment from the Loaded Talk podcast, please click below for the full episode and consider liking and subscribing. As always, you can go to loadedtalk.com to follow all things Loaded Talk.